Welcome to Full Frame. Well, my first guest is a dance pioneer, producer, and philanthropist. Carrie Ann Inaba was one of the first Asian Americans to perform contemporary dance on television in the U.S. She's been sharing her love of dance with audiences for nearly 3 decades. Carrie Ann, an award-winning TV host, has also choreographed and appeared in several feature films. She's probably most recognized as one of the judges right now on the hit TV series Dancing with the Stars. Carrie Ann takes her job as judge and mentor very much to heart.
Boomin'! Boomin'! Shut the front door! That is so amazing! What I see in you is a whole lot of fierceness in a little tiny package. That was so exciting for me because it was like bringing back like Fly Girl days and the ballroom. It's like all my worlds collide in one, and then you got up and you did that movie and pop, pop. Oh, I almost fell down. And I was like, damn! I want to say this to you, and I hope I get it right.
Oh, I think I'm going to cry. Here to talk.
You're going to make me cry again.
Well, here to talk about her career and giving back and all about the dancing world, Carrie Ann. So good to have you on Full Frame.
Thank you. Thanks for just making me cry right off the bat.
I know. I was just like, oh, I feel my throat choking up here.
Such a moment.
I know. It really was. We're going to get to that in a second. But I have to first start off by saying I'm so proud of you.
Oh.
As a fellow Asian American female, breaking into an industry and a field that really you didn't see a lot of Asian Americans doing dance, right? At least I didn't when I was growing up. So it's pretty phenomenal that you made it into a career and you made it your own. So how did you do it? I mean, first of all, what got you into dance?
Well, I started dancing in Hawaii. I'm from Hawaii,
right.
And I started dancing when I was 4. And my introduction to dance was not like most people. Most people are introduced into ballet.
Yeah.
Which has a lot of rules, and you have to be this, and you have to be that. And I started dancing in an open-air pavilion, barefoot, with a pink chiffon scarf. And our teacher said, take that and dance. And I was like, okay.
You're like, what?
And I ran around, and it was just about free expression.
Wow.
And I think that first introduction to dance, having it be so sort of open-ended and boundless and expressive and creative, was what set the tone for the rest of my life. I've always believed there's no boundaries to anything. I've never seen boundaries. And so when you don't see boundaries ahead of you...
motto to live by.
Yeah, it's true. If you don't see boundaries, they don't appear.
Right.
So dancing has always been about free expression, and it's sort of like it's just the way I express. I mean, we're always dancing.
Yeah, it's the idea of just free movement.
Yes,
for
free
you.
movement and expression from your heart. And it's about communication and life. It's so much more than just pas de bourrée, tombe.
Right.
I never really liked that. I never really liked ballet, actually.
Too much structure
for
you?
Too much structure for this person.
Right. And you're Hawaiian, You guys are a little bit more chill and kind of free with your bodies and, nature and all of that, right?
Yeah, and I grew up dancing the hula as well as every girl in Hawaii does, which I think is also important because it taught me sort of the cultural value of dance.
Yeah.
And in the hula, you do these movements that sort of tell you a story. So it's about communication. It's also about keeping your history alive and your cultural vibrant. And so dance has always been a lot more than just looking hot and making those moves.
But was it tough for you at times, being of Asian culture, trying to make it into the dance world here in the mainland? Actually,
for me, no.
Cool.
I'm going to say that, and a lot of people are surprised at this answer, but for me, it was never a problem. Because I grew up in Hawaii, I always thought of myself as the majority.
Right.
And I never thought that I deserved any less, or I never created any ideas in my mind that shaped my view of how I would be in the world. And so when I came out to LA, at first I went to Japan, and I realized for sure I'm not Japanese, because when I lived in Japan, I wasn't one of them.
Right.
I'm a Hawaiian girl.
And you went to Japan to sing,
yes.
right?
I was scouted when I was 17 to go be a pop star in Japan.
Oh my God, I never knew this.
It was a crazy experience. I mean, it was really fantastic because I'm Japanese, Chinese, Irish from Hawaii.
Okay.
And I went to Japan and I spoke Japanese because I learned it in school, not because my parents spoke it. And then I was put in this culture to be a pop star, and I was in shock because I looked Japanese.
Yeah, right.
But then when they talked to me, I'd be like, oh.
Something doesn't compute.
Yeah,
really.
It was fascinating. And then so when I came back to the United States, because I released 3 albums or 3 singles in Japan. That's when they used to do singles. This was before CDs,
right?
45, a long time ago. And I danced on the show, and I realized that I didn't like being the star.
Huh.
So because I was the pop star, all the attention came to me, and I realized I don't like that. So I loved dancing, and I thought, I'm going to go back to the United States. I'm going to go to UC Irvine because they had a choreography major at the time, and I said, I'm going to go there and I'm going to study dance and do what I love and leave this world behind.
Really?
Which I did.
Yeah.
And so, because of that, dance was always sort of just my playing field. Like I did it because I just loved it. And when I started dancing, I actually realized, because there weren't a lot of Asians, that I knew I was going to book the job.
Oh.
I had that kind of confidence that I was like, look, there's nobody that looks like me. And back then they always typecast. They needed one African American, one Caucasian, one Hispanic, and then there was like this one, Hispanics and Asians were always kind of cast the same,
totally.
kind of like this brown skin, right? And I was like, I know I can book that because there's no competition. There's like 5 other girls.
Right.
And I just, had confidence back then. When you're young, you're kind of clueless. I was naive, and I was
and that was probably a good thing for you.
And because I walked in with confidence, I didn't have any ideas of that I'm any less or any constructs in my head.
Right.
Everything was sort of open to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I studied, and I knew the business, and I knew, like, I'm not going to book the job when they want somebody who's 5'7" and out. I'm going to go for the jobs that they want somebody who's 5'5" and athletic. And I'm going to book it.
Right.
And I'm going to be the only Asian who's going to book it.
So you were actually kind of methodical about it in some ways. Yeah.
And it was never a problem to me.
Yeah.
Never a problem for me.
That's great to hear. That's
I'm very
really
fortunate,
great to hear.
because I know that's not the case.
But it's also your confidence, too. I think that probably exuded from you.
It's the circumstances that life gave me.
Yeah.
I'm very lucky for the circumstances, the way my mom gave me so much confidence. She was like, you're not Japanese, you're Chinese. My dad's like, no, you're Japanese. So I was like, I am neither. I am from Hawaii.
Okay.
So I may look Japanese, Chinese, and a little bit Irish when I drink. But outside, really, I respond well with being a Polynesian Islander, an Island Pacific.
And that's your identity.
Asian Islander.
Yeah.
Asian Pacific Islander.
Asian Pacific Islander, yeah. Very cool. Well, let's talk about Dancing with the Stars. I mean, talk about a mega hit that just continues every season to just draw in viewers and really move people to tears often, as we sometimes see you do. But when they approached you to be a judge initially, was that a no-brainer, or did you have to give it some thought?
Well, it was an interesting time because they brought in every choreographer in LA. So it was an honor just to be in the mix of who they were talking to, because they brought in all the choreographers, and these were the people that I grew up dancing for, and it was exciting.
Wow.
And I was working on So You Think You Can Dance at the time. I was the choreographer for that show, working with Nigel Lithgow. And then they said, this spot has opened up. And I wasn't sure, because So You Think You Can Dance is more the dance world that I'm from. I'm not a ballroom dancer. I am from the world of contemporary jazz and hip hop.
Right.
And so I wanted to do So You Think You Can Dance, but then there's something about Dancing with the Stars that was just so bizarre, this ballroom dancing that we hadn't really seen on such a major scale before, that it touched my heart. And I've always believed you go where you've never been before. Like, always take the more dangerous choice, the one that's more risky.
Take a risk. Yeah, right.
And so I was like, I don't know what that is. I'm a little afraid of it, so I'm going to go there. And we were just very fortunate because I didn't meet Len and Bruno until the first day of taping.
No way.
Like, I had interviewed with every other choreographer from America, but nobody from there. And then they decided they didn't like anybody else. They just chose me. So that was a huge honor to be chosen
amazing.
as the American representative. Yes.
Wow.
And then Len and Bruno,
you clicked.
We're family.
The three of you clicked so well, so instantaneously.
I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
That's the longevity for me. I've been able to do that show now. We've 22 seasons now. It's a long time.
Incredible.
It's a long time.
That is great. It's going to keep going. You know that, right?
Well, let's hope. You never know. I'm just grateful to be on it. I'm grateful that we've been able to spread messages and positive, encouraging messages about dance to people.
Yeah.
And I'm honored. I'm honored to be on that show.
Yeah, and it's so much fun. Well, we're going to take another look at a clip with the most recent winner, Nala DeMarco, right?
Yes.
Incredible story. We'll talk on the other side of it, but let's take a look at this clip.
I didn't expect that. I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's so fierce. And then you went into the silent mode, and I just, I've seen a lot on this show, 22 seasons, and I've never seen anything like that touched me so profoundly. You really are educating us about what it is to dance the way you're dancing, and it was so profound to see it without anything and just know that that's what you're doing every week. It was like, thank you for the gift. I feel honored that I got to experience dance as you've experienced it with PETA. You guys are brilliant.
He was amazing. Really astounding, mind-blowing. Everybody was so moved by his performances every week.
Yes.
Clearly you were.
Well, I'm the emotional one. Yeah, I just let my emotions flow. You know, our show has had a few people with what are supposedly called disabilities. And what's great about Dancing with the Stars is it allows them an opportunity to show that they are not disabilities at all. And that dance, what's been my greatest lesson from the people who have had the courage to come on when maybe they didn't have dancers form.
Right.
Nigel included, that he can't hear the music. They have taught me how much more dance can be than just movement to the music. And you know, and that's where I come from, as dance as expression, dance as a tool for healing.
Right.
And seeing Niall, who basically has been dancing his whole life, if you think about it, because sign language is movement to communicate.
You're right.
So I actually kind of felt like, in some ways, he had such an advantage because he knew how to express himself without words. And that's why his performances were extraordinarily touching.
Yeah.
And it was really wonderful to see him take it all the way to the end, especially because for him, when he danced, you didn't see his disability. We've had other people, like 2 seasons ago, we had Noah Galloway, who had one arm and one leg and was incredible, made it to 3rd place with Sharna Burgess. And I got to choreograph something for him, and it was just really powerful to interact with these people. They inspire me so much, you know. They have the courage to do things that, you know, sometimes in life we forget. We get comfortable in our lives.
We
don't
take
like
things
to take
for granted
risks.
constantly.
Yes, and you have to take risks. And these people take risks, and now they're breaking boundaries, you know?
Well, we were talking about how dance and movement is so important and can be very therapeutic. So I want to get this right. You are a spokesperson for the Andrea Rizzo Foundation.
Correct.
And that helps fund a therapy program, right, called Drea's Dream. Tell me a little bit more about that program.
I've been the spokesperson for the Andrea Rizzo Foundation for 8 years. I actually met Susan, who is the founder, at Dancing with the Stars. She was sitting like 2 seats next to me, and we just had this energy, and I was like, what do you do? She's like, I have this organization, the Andrea Rizzo Foundation, and we provide funding for Drea's Dream, which is a pediatric dance therapy program. So they go into hospitals and now public schools, and they work with children who are ill or are going through things, and it helps. We give them dance therapy with licensed therapists to help them transform, once again, to help them heal, to help them sort of cope with what's going on. We started it with pediatric cancer patients, and the first time we did it was at Mattel Children's Hospital. And it was amazing. I was there that day, and like I said, you can learn so much from a child who's going through cancer. And no child should have to go through this. And,
no, never.
You know, when you are sick like that, you give your body away to the doctors. Your body's no longer your own. So they're in there like, at this time they get this IV, at this time they get this shot, at this time they do this therapy. Most of it is uncomfortable. And so dance therapy, we come in and we give them a chance to express themselves, so we kind of know what's going on. We access their emotions, and then we sort of help them express and articulate what's going on inside of them, and we give them a way to let it out. And then the most important part, I think, is that we give them control back of their bodies for that time, which is very empowering and very important.
And what do you see when
oh my goodness, they love it. They come.
Yeah, really?
I was like, you have IVs, you are going through what I know is a terrible treatment, and you're like filled with light and hope and excitement because of, you know, because they're under great care. And part of the great care is the dance therapy. And it's just been wonderful. And I think it goes back to when I was 4 years old. You know, that's what dance has always been. It's always been a healing, expressive,
and feeling free.
Yeah,
that's great that you do that, Carrie Ann. I know you have another passion, which I share with you. Animal activism, right, and animal welfare. So tell me about that work, because I want to be your friend when it comes to stuff like that, because I'm obsessed. I love animals, and I love the idea of caring for animals and animal welfare. So tell me what you do.
Well, okay, so I have an organization it's a 501c3 called the Animal Project Foundation. And what we do is we provide emergency rescue grants, medical grants to animals that are on death row at our local shelters. Because as you know, there's a huge animal overpopulation crisis. And our shelters are overflowing with animals. And because there's a shortage of space, unfortunately, some of these shelters have to put them to sleep.
Like pretty quickly.
Pretty quickly. Cats and dogs. And like, I think the statistic is over 7 million go in and half of them don't come out alive and don't get a chance. So what we do is we provide funding to all these other organizations that go in and save them. I do a lot of emergency rescue grants because a lot of them come into the shelters and they're very ill.
Yep.
And they need a second chance. And I've always related to animals because kind of like I became a dancer because I wasn't comfortable speaking.
Yeah.
I'm still uncomfortable speaking. It's not my favorite thing to do. I express myself better with my body.
Hard to believe.
Okay. Well, I've learned after having to speak. I used to throw up before every Dance with the Stars episode because I was so nervous about having to speak.
Oh, wow.
But that all calmed down. But I've always related to animals because they also sort of don't have a voice.
Yeah.
I've always been one to stand up for people who don't have a voice or don't have the access to have everything they need given to them. And so I like to help people. I've always liked to
Animals
help people
and kids.
animals, yes.
Those are
Anybody
two-
who
yeah.
need help. And so the animals are a big deal. I have 5 rescues at home.
Oh, you do?
I have
Okay.
2 cats and
Okay.
3 dogs, and 2 of them were found on the street in Compton, and they were like hovering in the corner.
Oh.
And I was supposed to foster them, which means take them in and sort of.
That never happened.
You know, right?
No.
And you monitor them and you give them an assessment because that helps them get adopted.
Yes.
And then you sort of take them to the adoption fairs, and I've failed.
Total. I would fail every time if I was continually fostering. So.
Foster failure, which means I am a happy mommy. But so I do a lot of that, yeah.
But the message being, go adopt a dog or a cat. Please don't go to a pet shop or, and get.
Well, actually, in LA, it's been great because they've banned the sale of pets.
They just did that,
right? So now it's all rescue animals. So you can go to any pet store now and you can get. It will be a rescue,
right.
which would be great.
Yeah, in LA, but still, other parts of the country and around the world, still a different story.
We have a lot of work to do. I work with Best Friends, which is a wonderful organization. I'm sure you know them. And, I want to work with you with your broads and dogs because I know that's your cause too. So.
I know. I was just telling Carrie Ann before we started that I started a tiny little, group called Broads and Dogs because I care so much. And I realized there are so many cool women like us who love their fur babies, but also want to do something,
And the way it works in anything, in any form of any cause or any charity-related event, we have to work together.
Yes.
So my organization doesn't do it alone.
Right.
We fund smaller organizations that have been doing it and have been tested and know what they're doing. And that's, we all have to work together just in everything. As we evolve as a culture, as a people, as an earth, we need to help each other and work with each other and be aware of how what we do affects other people.
Hallelujah.
And monitor that.
Absolutely. Carrie Ann, I love you.
I love you too.
I totally want to be friends with you, please.
We're going to hang. We're going to go walk our dog.
We're totally going to hang together, but thank you so much. It was so great having you on the show.
Hug. Oh, yay.
Thank you. Okay. All right, well, coming up next, how a TV producer started a charity to expose more children to the power of dance. Stay with us.